Yo, what's up guys? In this video, I'm going to be explaining how and why I'll never work a 9 to 5 job ever again. And I'm relatively young, so I don't have the most experience working jobs in the world, but I have worked 3 jobs over the course of the past like 6 years or so. And that in and of itself has led me to the conclusion that I've came to today with that minimal amount of time working. So my first job was working fast food. I worked probably 30 to 40 hours a week part-time during high school. And then I ended up doing a job as a swim instructor where I was doing part-time lifeguard, part-time teaching little kids how to swim. And then my third job was retail. And these jobs, what they ultimately led me to is the conclusions that I'm going to talk about in this video today of why I will never work a 9 to 5 job ever again. And then after I explain that, if you stick around until the end, I'll explain how I'm able to do this and what it actually takes to get to a point where you never have to work a 9 to 5 job ever again if you have the same feeling towards it that I do. So first things first, the first reason of why I'm never going to work a 9 to 5 job ever again is because I think working a 9 to 5 job is the modern day slavery. Now, slavery is an entire separate issue, and it's obviously a lot worse than this, but this is the modern day version of that. And the reason why is because what slavery actually is it's basically you getting stripped of your freedoms and you only having one path, and you don't have any like free will. Basically, you can't do anything. And now obviously in this world we have free will, we can do what we want, but it's modern day slavery because you're basically brainwashed from a young age to thinking that this is the only route. This is the only route to be successful. You have to go through high school, you have to go to college, then you have to go work a 9 to 5 job. This is the route that you're taught growing up as the only route. And people really think that this is the only way. And if you want proof for why I think this is the modern day slavery and why it warrants that title, it's because if you've ever had, if you have friends or family and you try to do something outside of this path, they look at you like you're crazy. At least for me, that's what I experienced when I first attempted to start making money online. I had friends in college that laughed at me. They said I would never do anything. They called it stupid. They called it a scam. I had friends and family, like back home, that said it was stupid. Like, what are you doing? Why are you wasting your time doing this? It's all not possible. And so that, by definition, shows that people are brainwashed into thinking that this is the only path to success. And so you have to think outside of the box if you want to get to the next level. And we really have 3 freedoms. We have financial, time, and location freedom. And in a typical 9 to 5 job, you don't have any of those 3 freedoms. You're usually not getting paid that well. Maybe you're getting paid enough to be financially secure, but it's not financial freedom. Freedom is doing what you want, basically whenever you want. No 9 to 5 job, unless you're at the upper echelon, allows you to have the capability to do that. Let alone the next 2. Time freedom and location freedom. Even if you are at the upper echelon of financial freedom, like a doctor, lawyer, for example, you usually don't have the time freedom and the location freedom. Especially in a regular 9 to 5 job where your boss goes in, he sets your hours. If you have to come in early a day, you're getting demanded to do that. If you have to stay late, you get demanded to do that. And you have to go to a location to do it. Unless you're in some sort of remote job, which is obviously the location freedom aspect of it. And making money online, most people, again, think that it's not possible, and it's not the path. The path is working a 9 to 5 job for the rest of your life. With making money online, though, it's a bit of an outlier because it allows you to have financial freedom. There's no cap to how much money you can make. So in the beginning, you might not make a ton of money, but you literally have infinite potential as you go. So you have financial freedom, especially as you keep going. You also have time freedom. For example, for me, there are some days where I don't work that hard. There are some days that I work my ass off. but I set my own hours. And then the third thing is location freedom. A lot of times you'll find me sitting at this desk, but as well, a lot of times you'll find me out by the pool, sitting on the balcony, or I'll go travel and work. In fact, I've worked 2 entire separate months, one in Mexico, one in the Canary Islands, for entire months there, totally remote, in locations that I knew nothing about. And I just worked and I made money. I had really good months those months. And so making money online, it's really only possible through making money online that you have the 3 freedoms. The second reason for why I will never work a 9-to-5 job ever again is because in a 9-to-5 job, you are building someone else's vision, not your own. Unless for some reason you're in a 9-to-5 job and the mission of that business is not just making a ton of money, there's something impactful behind it. There's an actual mission and a purpose behind it, and that is also your life purpose. Unless that's the case, you are building someone else's vision and not your own. And that's a cold, cold reality. You're basically building someone else. You're helping them make and live the life that they want, all while sacrificing the freedoms that I mentioned earlier. And eventually you'll get to the point where you start believing that anything is possible. Especially for me, when I started seeing like 16, 17, 18-year-olds like making 10 grand a month on social media. At first I was like, dude, what is this? How is this possible? They have to be scamming. And then I started looking into it and I realized that it can be done legit. Then I started realizing that anything is possible. And the reality is whatever you want right now, somebody has already done it. Which means that you really have no reason to build someone else's dream instead of your own, unless you're using it as like a step to eventually start building your own, right? So if you're in a 9-to-5 job right now, I'm not shaming you for that. I'm just saying use this as a step to get to the point where you can eventually build your own dream. The unfortunate reality of this world is most people don't even know what they want. 80 to 90% of people just get washed up. They get thrown around by the waves. They watch the news. They are constantly on social media. And whatever happens, they get moved by. Life happens to them. They don't happen to life. And so if you can't even get clear on what you actually want, then of course you're going to be building someone else's dream. You don't even have a dream yourself. But the point is you need to get to the point where you start building your own dream and not someone else's. The third reason of why I will never work a 9-to-5 job ever again is because there is so much potential out there. And I really realized this when I took my trip to Mexico. Because at the time, my business partner and I had a business that was doing like $20,000 a month. We were doing pretty all right. And at some points, we started to develop some sort of ego and some sort of pride around that business. I mean, we were in the top 1% of income earners at our age, doing really well, living our dream life, having all 3 freedoms unlocked. But the reality is at the same time, we knew anywhere from 10 to 50 other people that were doing much, much, much better than us. And I don't think it's always great to compare yourself to people always doing better than you. I think it's healthy at sometimes because it kind of gives you like a wake-up call. But the reality is a lot of people compare themselves to people under them, to like the bottom of the barrel of the world. Straight up losers. I'm not going to lie to you. They compared themselves to these people and they say, oh, well, at least I'm doing better than them. Which you should be comparing yourself to, in healthy doses, obviously, is people that are doing better than you. And use it as a way to motivate you to do more and to realize that there is more out there. And the reality is this is impossible in a 9-to-5 job. In fact, if you're in a 9-to-5 job, you probably realize that most of your coworkers, they have this mindset that they're just stuck there forever. They don't have like a growth mindset. Don't compare yourself to those people. Compare yourself to people that are doing the stuff that you eventually want to do. So these are like the three main reasons for why I'll never work a 9-to-5 job again. Again, number one, I think a 9-to-5 job is the modern day version of slavery, because I think since a young age we're indoctrinated that this is basically the only path that you can go through. And it takes, I mean, for me, when I had my conversation with my parents that I was going to be dropping out of college, even when my business was already doing pretty good and I was making money, they had problems with it. That just goes to show exactly what I'm talking about. And things are changing over time, but it's still this way for sure. And then the second thing is you need to eventually build your own vision and not someone else's. Third reason is there's just so much out there for you to get, and there's no point in settling for mediocrity. Now, how do I get myself into a position, and more importantly, how can you get yourself into a position where you can never work a 9-to-5 job again? Well, the first thing is there's a good chance you're going to need to use either a 9-to-5 job or the education system like college, high school, etc. as a stepping point. But you can't stay stuck here. You need to use 9-to-5 job, college, whatever it is, either one of those two, as like, I'm going to do this for a little bit and I'm going to like act dumb, I guess. I can't think of a better word, for a little bit, but I'm eventually going to get myself out of it. And so while you're in college and while you're working a 9-to-5 job, you need to spend the extra free time that you have acquiring high income skill sets. Because the reality is, if you want to make money, you have to provide value to the marketplace. And the only way to provide value to the marketplace is solve people's problems. And the only way to solve people's problems is by acquiring high income skill sets. I personally think that sales is the absolute best skill that you can learn. And if you do things right, you can do it in tandem with a 9-to-5 job or in tandem with college like I did and how all of my students are doing it, where you can work 3 to 4 hours on something like this, make a couple extra $1,000 a month, get yourself into a position where you can eventually quit that and go all in. So you start acquiring high income skill sets over the course of 6, 12, maybe even 24 months. You're still working your 9-to-5 job or you're still in college, but you're slowly carving a path for yourself outside of it. And the reality is it's hard. There are going to be days where you come home from your 9-to-5 job or from college and you're completely exhausted, but you still have to put in the work. Especially if you actually want the things you want. If you don't want it bad enough, then fine, just keep working your 9-to-5 job. But just realize that there's a better version of you out there that could have done more. So you spend over the course of 6, 12, 24 months, 2 to 3 hours every single night or every single morning before, acquiring and building high income skill sets and putting them to practice. Things like sales, things like content creation, things like marketing. And then you start eventually getting yourself to a position where you can quit your 9-to-5 job. Your first objective is to do half of your 9-to-5 salary. So if you get paid $5,000 a month at your 9-to-5, your first goal is to start to get to the point where you can make an extra $2,500 a month online. This might take you a year, this might take you 2 years, this might take you a couple months, depending on how hard you try. But once you can do half, then your objective is to quit your 9-to-5 job. Even at half, you don't have to match your income. If you're waiting to match your income from your 9-to-5, you're just like, you're basically having a backup plan. Quit your job. If you make half of your money, if you make half of the money that you make at your 9-to-5 job and you make it online, quit your job. You can always go back if you absolutely need to, or go get a different job. But the reality is when you quit that job and you take all of that effort and all of that energy that was draining you and soul sucking you in that 9 to 5 job or in that college, for me, that's what it was. That happens too. And you put that into that same thing of making money online, it'll explode. That's what happened with me. I was a full-time college student. I was also doing sports. I also had a couple part-time jobs, balancing all of that at the same time. I started acquiring, in the time that I could, 1 hour a day sometimes, 2 hours a day sometimes, 6 hours a day sometimes when I really wanted it. I spent that time acquiring high-income skill sets. The first skill that I attacked was sales. The reason why I attacked it is because every business sells something. So if I can learn how to sell, I become valuable to any business. Then I executed that skill. First month, made $3,000 as an appointment setter. Second month, $4,000. Third month, $5,000. I dropped out of college. My parents thought I was crazy. I told them at first it was a gap year, so they felt a little bit better about it. Started going all in. Hit 10K per month a couple months after that. Hit 15K per month a couple months after that. We scaled our business to $50,000 a month within the span of 2 years. Because all of that effort that was draining me in college, I put it into my business, and like now I had 3 times the work ethic that I had before. So this is the roadmap and this is the path. I have a ton of other videos if you want to check them out on how specifically like how to make money online. So if you want to learn more about that, you can. But this is the reality of why and how I'll never work a 9 to 5 job again. And if you're looking for one-on-one help, if you're looking for a mentor who has already gone through this transition and this path and already helped numerous people go through the same thing as well, then I want to jump on a call with you. So I'm going to leave a link in the description for you to schedule a time with me, where on that call, you're going to book it for a time that you can make and that I'm available for as well. On that call, I'm going to start by asking you some questions to get a good idea of where you're at right now in life. Then after that, I'm going to get a good idea of what you want your life to look like. What are your goals? And then based on what we talk about there, if I find out I can help you, then I will run you through a little bit more about how I've already helped people in your exact same situation learn how to make money online and change their lives completely. So if you're interested in that, you can book a call down below. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if this video hit, and take care and have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace.